And you obviously, Bradford, there's a lot of regeneration plans there, a lot ongoing. What's your assessment of how the city is regenerating and redeveloping at this present time?
I think it's going really well. We've had a couple of disappointments, there's no doubt about it. In my view, and many others in the city, as far as the lottery bid for the park at the Heart, we was robbed. It was a first-class bid, but actually what it's provoked is a very, very strong and positive response from the Council, Yorkshire Forward and English Partnerships to make it happen. So out of adversity, comes a strength there.
Yes.
Clearly we'd have liked to have seen Westfield much further on. Clearly Westfield would have liked to have been much further on. But, just passing the site, you can see the activity that's going on there. So that is really, really encouraging. And this week, with the decision from the Department of Culture, Media and Sport not to list the Odeon in Victoria Place, we can now get on with Langtree Artisan on a really modern and exciting project on that site that's going to bring jobs and class jobs and first class offices into the city, really kickstart the office market. So 2007 could have got further on, but 2008 I think it's going to be Bradford's year.
Manny, obviously there's a lot of work going on in Bradford at the moment. How do you view the city centre and its regeneration efforts?
I think at the moment the regeneration is moving slowly but surely. Obviously the Westfield Shopping Centre, the £300 million shopping centre, is now started. They're doing more than the groundworks, and hopefully within the next couple of years, I think there's an end date of 2010 for when the shopping centre will be ready. Coupled with that, you've got the other key developments in the city centre with Park in the Heart. You've got the channel, you've got the student village. These are key developments that are taking shape now. And behind the scenes, obviously, we've got the planning applications on the key developments. It's all about a matter of time now when everything really does start to take shape.
Do you think that, obviously as you said there, that some of these schemes have been quite slow getting going, and do you think that's affected the sort of optimism from residents in Bradford and maybe businesses that maybe things aren't going as fast as they could have been?
Well, I think I agree with what you're saying. Generally, people are for the regeneration, the local businesses and residents of Bradford. But at the end of the day, it is taking time. But there's reasons there's reasons for that. For example, when you're talking a £350 million development, for example, the channel, it won't happen overnight, and there's a lot of planning implications and a lot of red tape that you've got to get past. So these things do take time, and residents that come to me, because we sell apartments in Bradford City Centre, when people come to us and say, look, why isn't this development taking shape, why isn't this, I always give them a comparison of Dubai. Dubai has developments that come out of the ground within 6 months, and in the UK they probably take 5 years to do that, because Dubai is cash rich and the red tape is governed by the government anyway. So they're the ones who are throwing the money in, and they've got lots of money. They are working day and night, and therefore something that would take 5 years in the UK to build can take 6 months there. But we are not as fortunate as Dubai. We don't have that type of resource, money resource or labour resource, and therefore things are going to take time here in the UK, and especially in Bradford. But once things do take shape, the shopping centre, as I said, the residential and the leisure facilities in the city centre, and then obviously Bradford City will be a great place to live, and that's the thing. We're trying to have it as a great place to be, Bradford. It's not just about living, it's about working here, it's about living here, it's about enjoying the city. And Bradford historically has been a great city, and that's what we're trying to bring back to birth.
And just in terms of the Westfield scheme, I mean, obviously it's been much publicised in terms of the apparent lack of action on the scene, if you like. I mean, we obviously went past it this morning. There's a lot of builders on there, a lot of diggers. Can you just give us a picture of the progress there? Obviously, at the moment, I presume they're doing groundworks.
They're doing their preparatory works at the moment, and I think if you go out there and look at it, it's like a Tonka toy site, and they've got drilling rigs. Let's hope they strike oil for Bradford. I reckon they must be spending around about 100 grand a week. a lot of labour on the site, and they've also acquired 17,000 square foot of offices in Vicar Lane as their new headquarters. So all the indications are that Westfield's in town and getting on with the job.
And you touched on just previously there a couple of schemes, obviously the Park in the Heart, which, as you mentioned there, got knocked back for lottery funding. I take it that that scheme, as you said there, is going to carry on. There's no question that that's not going to progress.
Within a week of the decision from the lottery, the funding partners, English Partnerships, Yorkshire Forward, and above all the council, got themselves together and then went public that they were going to make it happen. And they have already committed to £1.5 million towards the design works needed over the next few months to get the proposals for the Park at the Heart ready to go out to tender. So that's the kind of commitment that there is behind it. There is no doubt the Park at the Heart is of regional significance, as well as putting Bradford on the map.
Yes.
It will be what makes Bradford City Centre different from neighbouring Leeds, complementary perhaps, but different from other cities in the north and the rest of England.
Sandy, obviously with your role at the Chamber of Commerce, it is all to do with looking after the businesses in Bradford. Yeah. How do you view at the moment the sort of climate in the city and the enthusiasm that's around Bradford at the moment with the regeneration work that's going on?
I think it's really building confidence. Having investment like on the former West Bowling site is really important because people can see that there's an opportunity in the supply chain. Also, there's more discussion about what to do with training people, equipping them for jobs that actually exist. There's some good conversations going on to make sure that people who are being trained are very much making it demand-led, so looking at what businesses want going forward, and that's really healthy. But also the development, there are quite a number of sites to be developed, and I've met some of the people who are interested in investing and developing those sites, and I don't think we've quite ever seen this level of interest in Bradford, which is really good.
Yes. And just touching on that, the sort of relationship with Leeds, I mean, obviously you look at Leeds and it's got buildings going out of the ground left, right and centre. Is it fair to compare the two and sort of say Bradford's languishing behind, or, I mean, is there a system where you guys are working with Leeds to try and complement each other?
Yes, on both counts. Bradford is not languishing behind, but Bradford is behind Leeds, it is behind Sheffield, it is behind Manchester, it's also at the moment a smaller city than all of those. Its regeneration journey started perhaps 10 or 15 years after Leeds. So 5 years into what is a vision for 2020, I think the city is doing really well and in many ways is ahead of many other cities would have been. If you just look at what's actually on site or completed on site or with consent, there are more than 5,500 new homes in the pipeline in the city centre alone, for 45,000 square feet of offices. We've also seen office rents in Bradford rise nearly 40% in that period. The Westfield development will bring on 100 new shops in the city. I think the city's going from strength to strength, and I think it's borne out by the confidence of the private sector in the city. Just look at the success we've had for a third consecutive year in MIPIM, and look at the success of a year-old Bradford Property Forum. Very, very strong private sector backing in the city.
Just finally, I mean, you mentioned obviously that 2007 was maybe a year of slight setbacks, if you like, with various schemes stalling and not getting off the ground. What can we expect to see in Bradford over the next 12 months? Over the next 12 months,
we can expect to see Westfield coming out of the ground. We can expect to see New Victoria Place, the Odeon, in for planning permission, a really important project for the city. The Learning Quarter is already on site with the college, the university and the McGuinness Group We're hoping MI7 will be pressing on to resolve their outstanding ownership and planning issues and see them moving ahead on that as well. Park at the Heart, yes, I think it's already got planning permission. Want to see it out to tender towards the end of the year, and I think it's going to be an exciting year for the city.